Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be, all over this world. My name is Tanaya. Welcome to my channel where I highlight God in everything. My channel is about faith and growth, people. We are to be, walking by faith and not by sight and growing daily. Becoming who God called us to be and doing what He put us on this earth to do. So I'm on here today, people. I want to read this scripture. I'm talking about testimonies and how important our testimonies are, and not sharing half of the testimony, but the whole testimony in order to give God the glory, okay? In order so He is glorified through your life. So I want to come from this scripture, Hebrews 9:16. It said, "For where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the testator." 17. For a testament is of force after men are dead. Otherwise it is of no strength at all while the testator liveth. Okay, that's Hebrews 9:16, 17. So God began to give me, deal with me one day last week, and He's talking about testimonies. And we know why we are the way we are, and we know where we come from. But I said before, and God had me say, we get to choose who we become every day. We have a choice, people. Will you become all that He called you to be? Will you become the person He created you to be on this earth when He thought of you? We're supposed to be the best versions of ourselves, that look like God. The best version of the creation looks like its creator. Many people stop at, what they, been through and why they the way they are. But we understand you've been through this and you've been through that, but that's only a part of your story, a part of your testimony. How is God able to be glorified through your story if you're just telling, what you've been through and why you the way you are? If you're just choosing to stop in your past and the things you've been through and the things God, and not tell about the things God walked you through and brought you out of. As we continue to become and continue on the journey, it's another part of the story where we're supposed to be telling people where God brought us out of, where He brought us from, what He brought us into, and how He turned those very things that the enemy meant for evil around for our good, for the saving of many souls. If you, read the story of Joseph in the Bible, it didn't stop for Joseph when they put him in that pit. His story kept going because he chose to keep going, people. Joseph understood that it was more to his life than that pit. It was more to his life than his brothers just betraying him like that and being jealous of him. It was more to his life, and he knew he wasn't just a part of his environment or what his past made him to be. But choosing every day, people, to put one foot in front of the other, to become all that God created you to be, so that He's able to get the glory out of your life, out of your testimony, and it can help so many people. And like I said in that Hebrews chapter 9, it talks about, how the testimony is only powerful or effective when the dying of your flesh take place. That's how God is able to get the glory, because it wasn't you that brought you out. You aren't the reason you're still here today. It wasn't because of you you're in your right mind. It wasn't because of you your kids are taken care of how they're taken care of. It was because of God, people. It's because His grace, because His mercy, because of His strength. It's because He kept providing and opening doors for you along the way. It wasn't you, people. It was God. And now if we choose to continue the journey and continue to become, we'll be able to see God glorified through our testimonies. We'll be able to see others endure and come out and overcome the very things that God brought us from and God brought us out of, people, when we share our testimonies. And what I've witnessed is some people, like to sit around and have pity parties, talking about what they've been through and wallowing and drowning in their past. But God is not able to get the glory out of that. Your testimony is not as effective as it could be, because that's only a part of it. Okay, we see how you are. Now, how is God gonna get the glory out of what you've been through, and how he can delivered you out of that thing and turned you into this beautiful creation and transform your life, and he renewed your mind when it was lost. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we can't be sitting around and discussing, what we've been through and why we the way we are, and do this thing halfway, people. We must tell the full thing. We must continue on the journey so we can see the other part of it, the beautiful part, not just the bad part. God get the glory out of the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's more to your life. It's more to your story. But you gotta choose to, keep going. You gotta choose to not just look at, oh, my life is my past. Do you understand? My identity is my past. No, there's more to you. And like I said, when you tell them about, the goodness of God and how you chose to break through that and lean and depend on God as he held your hand and he pulled you out and pulled you through the things that tried to hinder you and stop you and drown you and suppress you and kill you and destroy you, people. That's how he's glorified. Tell them about how God brought you out of all of that. And his keeping power is still keeping you today. Tell them about how you choosing to become all he called you to be, and how your story didn't stop in your past, and how your story is still going on as long as you have God's breath in your body. People, you have a choice. You can make your past a part of your story, or you can make it your whole story. It's up to you. But when you choose to continue on your journey, you can see how all of that have worked together for your good. Come out your past and be in your present. Be in the now and newness of God so he can show you the new things he want to do in your life right now. You are not what you've been through, but you are who you choose to become every day. You have a choice. I'm here to tell you, you have a choice. Let God get the glory out of your testimony. And stop telling these half testimonies so it can be effective and more impactful and change and transform lives all over this world so that we could see more people delivered and healed through your testimony. Like I said, we know where we came from, but we can choose who we become every day as we continue on our journey so we can see all that work for our good. Like I said, there's more to your stories than what you've been telling. It's more to your stories than what you've been seeing, what you've been experiencing. You've been seeing out of the eyes of your past. You've been seeing out of the eyes of your pain, out of what you've been through. And the devil has made that your identity. It's more than what you've been seeing, people. It's more than what the lies of the enemy been telling you. God is saying there's more to your life and he want to show you. Let go and let God help you come out of that so you can enter into this wholeness of you, this whole place that's waiting on you. Enter into the promises of God. Enter into the things that God have for you. But in order to enter into something, you got to come out of something. You got to close the door of your past. Close the door of the old you. You got to make the choice to come out, says the Spirit of the living God. And I feel like some of you are shameful and you have talked about everybody else and tried to display this perfect life, and then things began to break out in your life. And now you don't want to share your testimony because you had your mouth on everybody else and, wanted them to believe that you lived a perfect life. But I hear God saying, tell your testimony anyway. Don't allow the enemy to make you feel shameful or condemned by what you've been through. Ask for forgiveness for having your mouth on everybody else. And then when things hit your life, then you don't want to say nothing. You want to keep all that stuff to yourself because you've been acting like you had everything together. But you got a story to tell too. You got a testimony to share too. You need to be telling it too, says the Spirit of the living God. So God is able to get the glory. Lastly, God gave me this word about humility, and I want to share this, and I'll be out of your way. God said he's allowing these last couple of years, he's been allowing the people in the world to see his people hurting, but still persevering. He said, I'm allowing them to see you doing ministry, at our most vulnerable stages in our lives, to let them know we hurt too. Previously, he said his people has felt as if they had to portray a perfect image in front of the world. But while doing so, it left so many sheep scattered. But God said the lost wasn't being found, the sick wasn't being healed, and the bound wasn't being set free. And not many paid attention to the poor. God said it would have been too many agendas that was exalted and many abandoned, God's agenda. But God is reviving humility. The only way we will be able to win the harvest if we're able to humble ourselves. If we're able to come down so many souls can be raised up. God said, I'm raising up disciples after my own heart. Disciples that care about what God care about. Disciples whose agenda is God's agenda. Disciples that will sacrifice everything for God's sake, for his will to be done on earth as it is in heaven. And God is asking you on today, will that be you, says the Spirit of the living God. Let our lives represent the one who sent us, people. And let's be about our Father's business. Again, don't tell half of those testimonies. Continue the journey and tell the whole thing. Let go and let God, people. So he can get glorified and his will could be done in your life. God bless you. I'm praying for us all. Highlight God in everything. Pray more, worry less.